Hello guys, in yesterday's class we discussed about phasor diagram for unity power factor load. In today's class we shall discuss about phasor diagram for lagging power factor load. That is, you're going to connect a inductive load to the transformer. Here we connect a resistive load and here we are going to connect what? Inductive load, so that we get lagging power factor. Okay, and again it is defined by cos phi 2. Okay, so here it is same as that of the earlier class. This, the only change we shall see. So first thing, you know that phi should be drawn reference, and again we know that Im can be drawn overlap over each other, that is phi as well as Im, whereas Ic can be drawn on minus E1 phasor. Yes, and resultant of that is what? Your I0. Yes or not? I0 is equal to Ic plus Im. If you want, you can show. Fine. Okay. This is over, minus E1 is over, phi is over. This is already we discussed how to draw minus E1, E1, E2, phi in the last class. Yes or not? With that knowledge, going to study this. Minus E1 is done, phi is done, E1, E2 is also done. Okay, E2 is over here, thermal should be over here. Okay, E2 at the tip. Now, in order to show that my load is lagging or my load is inductive type, so what we need to show is, we know that we have a relation between current as well as voltage with respect to secondary, that is I2 and V2. If I connect an inductive load, then we know that current lags voltage by certain angle. Okay, if it is a pure inductive load, means obviously it will be 90 degree. But we are not sure whether it is purely inductive or not. So what we say here is, we shall say that my current, that is secondary current I2, lags V2 by certain angle phi 2. You can see I2 is over here, it is lagging V2 by certain angle phi 2. Yes, you can see. First, what you need to do, first you need to draw what? Can draw first, you can start with either V2 or you can start with either I2, but make sure I2 should I2 should lag V2 by phi 2. So let us say your phasor is rotating anti-clockwise direction like this. So V2 is first, so I2 is following V2, so I2 lags V2 by phi 2. Okay, this is I2. So once you know I2 means, what happens, the dead opposite phasor will be what? I2 dash or minus I2. This is they have shown here, minus I2 or you can write it as I2 dash. Okay, once you know I2 dash, then what happens? I0 also, you know, if you want, you can write on a power factor angle of phi 0 like this from V1 as well as I0. I told in the already in your last class, the power factor angle phi 1 is always with respect to current and the voltage V, not EMF. Okay, so I0, the angle is what? From I0 to V1, it is phi 0. If you want, you can show like this from this point to this point. So once you know I2 dash, then we know that resultant of I0 and I2 dash is nothing but what? I1. So I have drawn in middle of this somewhere. So I1 represents what? Resultant of I0 as well as I2 dash. So I2 is done, I1 is done, I0 is done, I2 dash is done, minus E1 is done, phi 1 is done, phi is done. Okay, E1, E2 is also done and V2 is also done. Okay, you can have certain length phasor here and you can draw like this. Okay, now coming to, we know that V2 is characterized by what? Formula that is E2 minus I2Z2. Yes or not? V2 is equal to E2 minus I2Z2. True. And again, if I want to have E2 itself, means it will be what? Summation of V2 plus I2Z2. Okay, so it is over here. Fine. Again, V2 is over here. So V2 is already done. E2 is already done. So what remains here is I2Z2 we need to represent in the phasor diagram. But one thing we know that I2Z2 can be also written as I2R2 plus J I2X2. Yes, once again I say I2Z2 can be also represented as I2R2 plus J I2X2. And out of that we know that I2R2 is a voltage drop across the resistor, that is I2R2. Yes, and I2X2 is what? Voltage drop across the reactance. Yes or not? That is I2X2. So we know that this is, you can see at the tip of the V2 I have drawn I2R2. Yes, I2R2 I have drawn. It is nothing but what? Voltage drop across the resistance. That is your load. That is, we are believing that some of the what? Your load has a resistive part in it. We believe that is pure, because anyhow it is a combination. See, resistance and reactance combination, and that results your impedance in So just you're breaking down your I2 Z2 in terms of I2 R2 as well as I2 X2 and believing the fact I2 R2 is a pure one. Again what happens, this is your voltage drop across the resistance, and we know that for resistor voltage and current are in the same phase. Yes, voltage and current are in the same phase. So that's why you can see that I2 R2 this length as well as I2 this one both are parallel. Yes or not? See this as well as this, you can see both are parallel. Parallel in sense what? Parallel in sense what? The phase angle is 0 between I2 R2 as well as I2. True, the phase angle is 0 between I2 as well as I2 R2. So once I2 R2 is done, so what remains? I2 X2 remains still. Yes, I2 X2 remains. So I2 X2 is nothing but what? I2 X is the voltage drop across the reactance, and believe me that reactance is pure. Okay, so that obviously it lags by 90 degree. Yes or not? True. You can see that I2 is over here, and you can see I have drawn a perpendicular line to this. We know that current as well as voltage drop across the reactance has phase angle of 90 degree, which you all learned. Yes or not? So that's why you have to take a scale and make sure that, see to that you draw a perpendicular line from this point to this point. Anyhow, we need not to show like what starting draw from this point, since anyhow we need to answer this term, not this one. Okay, just for reference sake I am telling, you can take scale here and make sure it is a perpendicular to I2 and start drawing from here with respect to what? 90 degree. Anyhow this and this are parallel, means obviously this and this will be at the 90 degree. Yes or not? Anyhow if I am considering 90 degree over here, this one, this point, so draw a 90 degree phasor diagram which represents your I2 X2. Okay, why we are drawing 90 degree? Because we know that current I2 as well as voltage drop across the reactance X2 have the phase difference of 90 degree. Okay, once we got I2 R2, once we got I2 X2, then what remains? In the dotted line you can show that resultant of I2 R2 and I2 X2 is nothing but what? I2 Z2. Okay, you can see resultant of I2 Z2 is nothing but I2 R2 plus I2 J I2 X2. And once you know that, then you can easily write what? E2 is equal to summation of V2 plus I2 Z2 here. Okay, this dash represents what? Vector direction. Okay, clear? So it is equal to V2 plus I2 Z2. Okay, so this is all done. At the bottom side this is also done, minus E1. Now coming to this, not just we need to answer the secondary side, we need to answer the primary side as well, right? So similar to this, we know that your V1 is supplying E1 as well as I1 Z1. Yes or not? Here it is written V1 is supplying E1 as well as I1 Z1. Minus E1 we are showing it as what? Because E1 opposes your V1. So as per Lenz's law I have shown here with a sign minus. Okay. So minus E1. So again we know that I1 Z1 comprises of again I1 R1 plus I1 X1. Yes, I1 Z1 is equal to what? Summation of I1 R1 plus J I1 X1. Again at the tip of the minus E1 I need to draw what? I need to draw I1 R1, that is voltage drop across the resistance. Again, whenever I say voltage drop across the resistance, then what should come in your mind? The voltage and current in that particular part are what? Are in the phase. There is no any phase angle between voltage as well as current in the resistance. That is phase angle, it is 0. So that's why what happened, you can see this is your voltage drop I1 R1, and see where I1 is? I1 is over here, right? You can see I1 R1 as well as I1 both are parallel in each other. Yes, is there an angle? If you take a scale and if you see properly, then you can come to conclusion that there is no any angle between this and this. If at all angle is there, the angle is 0. Yes, so if angle is 0 means I can say I1 R1 and I1 are what? Parallel, they are both in phase. Okay, so remember here we draw I2 R2 at the tip of V2. But here we are going to draw I1 R1 at the tip of minus C1. Okay, should remember this. Okay, once you got to know how to draw this I1 R1, any phasor length, it is not like always take this much of length and all, depending upon your diagram as well, you can use. So once you do this, again what comes here is, again remains your I1 X1. Again we know that I1 X1 as well as I1 have phase difference of 90 degree. You can take a scale and you can see that this line, that is voltage drop across reactance X1 as well as this I1, we have phase difference of 90 degree. Okay, so if this is 90 degree means obviously with I1 R1 also it will be 90 degree. Yes, geometry and all. So once you draw this I1 X1, then what happens? We need to what consolidate for this I1 Z1. So summation of I1 R1 plus I1 X1 will give rise to what? I1 Z1, which is shown in the dotted line. Okay, we need to show in the dotted line, not with the thick line, because already we have shown this I1 R1, I1 X1. This is the representation of what? Resultant. Representation of resultant. Already we have taken into consideration those two things. So you have to draw this I1 Z1 in the dotted form. Okay, so once you write I1 Z1, then it's all done. And what happens? And you need to draw V1 over here. Minus E1 already you drawn, I1 R1 over, I1 X1 over, I1 Z1 over. So what remained here is V1, and just join from this point to this point, and again that gives you V1. So V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 Z1. Okay, V1 is equal to minus E1 plus I1 Z1. So this is all for what? Phasor diagram for a lagging power factor load. Okay.